G'day, friends and fans. Welcome to Dave Talk Stuff. Tabletop news. Tabletop RPG news. I'm your host, the author, David Applegate, author of the books The Boyhood Arcade, Power Games, and Into the Elves Mound. To think the supporters make this channel financially viable. And of course, I invite you to join them through the link tree in the QR code. And also ask that you could please share the video, let people know we're here live. Please and thank you. We're live on Rumble, X, Locals, and YouTube. So could you, just give me a moment, please, to share the video links out for let people know we're here. So it's just me. Don't have it seems to be when I share the video links ahead of the time, nobody seems to look at them. It's like you've got to be live at the moment. Otherwise, people just click the link, go, oh, not ready yet. I don't know what's wrong with people. Impatient these days. I shouldn't complain. But I'm tired of people telling me, but you're not live yet. Yeah, join me live at but subscribe for notifications anyway. All right. We're going to start with my favorite, the Bundle of Holding. This is one of my favorites, the Palladium Fantasy. Yeah, I know. Everybody loves D&D. Everybody loves D&D, but I find it refreshing to actually play games other than D&D. I think, plus my gaming experience, I don't really need the system, but there's some great material out there. And it doesn't really take long to put together a game and play something different. This is, of course, highly successful second edition from 1996. In addition to the core rulebooks, you get a bunch of source core book expansions. So pay the basic price, $17.95, and get the starter collection. Beat the threshold price of $33.75, and you'll level up and get the entire bonus collection on top of that. Now, pay the minimum, get the 1996 second edition core rulebook, complete standalone RPG with character classes, races, vast and diverse magic, detailed world of adventure, a rich original setting where you can play humans or any number of non-humans, a little world of magic, heroes, and wonder, a world with 100,000 years of history. Also is the fantasy supplements, the heart of magic. There's history, secrets, and mysteries behind wizardry and spellcasting, warlocks, goblins, priests, etc. Monsters and animals. More than 100 monsters and 200 real-life animals, from tigers to spiders, many like bearmen, coil, anglers, ratlings, dwarves, lizard mages, you name it, there's a lot of them. Dragons and guards. Meet the Hydra, the Fire Dragon, the Thunder Lizard, Cockatrice, and many others. Did you know Cockatrice is actually considered a European dragon? So it's a Tarrasque. It's actually a French dragon. And it actually, historically, isn't the King of Dragons. The King of Dragons, actually, I believe, was contested between the Hydra and the Gagarin, the 300. Is it a Zemi Gagorish? Yeah, Central European dragon, anyway. Monsters and Animals, 2nd edition. Yeah. Dragons and Gods. Learn about dragon hatchlings, adults, ancients, society, etc. Yes. The Western Empire. The Western Empire of Sin. Sign me up. All right, an overview of Sin, its corrupt nobility, clan wars, shady politics, major cities, noble families, regional and factional information, of course, maps, plans, political figures, the emperor, herbs, poisons, drugs, dragons, drugs, and magic items. Sorry. Right, got all the extra words out of my mouth. Hopefully. The Library of Beltherod. What is the library? Well, it holds many secrets and avenues for adventure. In the library, you learn about political intrigues, lost weapons, ancient ruins, forgotten secrets of magic, 21 legendary rune weapons, shadow casting, formation, spirit, cold, and ice magic, and more than 50 new spells, the zealotry, monks of Brotherhood and secret guardians, adventure ideas and maps. Now, if you level up, which I recommend you do, fantasy source books. This is why it's a little bit richer than most, is that you're getting $100 retail just in this, $1,500. This is a complete collection that would greatly expand. I mean, you could spend a couple of years just on playing the source books. The City of Troka, Pirate Coves, new races, new monsters, the Remote Kingdom of the Northern Islands, of Brezitham and the Northern Islands, Remote Kingdom, Frightening Realm of Sea Monsters, Monsters, Barbarians, and Adventure. Eastern Territory, the domain of man is fiercely independent, ripe with promise, but poised on the brink of destruction. Land of the Damned, the Chaos Lands, mountains and the great rifts, the legendary Land of the Damned, created by the gods to lock away the minions of darkness. Lands of the Damned 2, Eternal Dormant, prison to the worst villains of the Chaos Wars. Mount Nimro, fledgling kingdom of the giants, is political intrigue and unrest, new races and character classes. Northern Hinterlands, this is the misunderstood of long winters, forgotten history, and many secrets and challenges. The Wolfen Empire has grown into reality. 12 tribes stand united. Clash between humans and the Wolfens of the Eastern Territory is... Oh, we'll talk about spoiler alert. I guess that's what happens when you put all the packages in one, isn't it? The Old Ones, 2nd edition, 1996, 2nd edition of the Old Ones. Adventure source book, presenting the ancient dwarven ruins, reputed back to the Dwarf Elf War, includes character classes for the monk, scholar, illusionist, and new details about the Old Ones, their minotaur minions, warriors, witch, chaos priests, and various adventures. Adventures on the high sea, magic and monsters, pirates and jungles, exotic ports and ships combat. 26 ships, various character classes, gladiators, necromancers, necromancer magic, additional skills, cities, notable NPCs, cults, pirates, dangers, magic items, and more. All that. Wow. Yes. Let's see, what was the value of this pack? 196 for $33. That is a huge discount, which, it's the price is a little high for some, I understand, but it is actually a huge bundle. Household, now going from a huge bundle to a value little once-off one-shot, or a long-playing campaign, a tabletop RPG of little folk. Household, it's a game of two little mice for $14.95 for the complete collection. This is English language PDFs of the teeny tiny role-playing game. It's originated in Italian, and it offers you, for the first time, to actually play as the two little mice. Household cookbook, your house awaits. 100 years since the masters left the house, and now the little folk have returned to claim their household. And the first household war, the four folk have reached a truce, fragile peace. Little folk have scattered their fates. The characters may be fairies, bogarts, slugs, sprites. There's pitfalls and traps outside the house, battles, beauty and majestic. Created for a human family that everything was created for a human family that vanished mysteriously. The tall walls decorated with ancient motifs, carpet stretching to the horizon, the unreachable ceiling that humanity painted with indoor stars. Wow. It's a D6 game, so it's easier to pick up and easier to play. And on top of that, you get Living in the House, a practical guide to the house, extensive background on lore. Perhaps you wondered why the army from the realm was called Imperial, or how Ventu became so to be named such. And you wondered how the Whirlpool and the Great Faucet in Turbidam receives packages in a room in the house. What is penny worth per gate? Only have fake pennies, and so forth. Gives you new rooms, mysteries, equipment, companions. And the major cities of the house. Yeah. The Fragile Peace. The backdrop for adventure. The Fragile Peace is a 5-year period of the so-called High Council unending in the shadow of a new war looming. Tumultuous years, rife with old disagreements, great resolutions, diplomatic incidents, household histories made. Leads you through the years of fragile peace, fates of 24 noteworthy littlings. Use these ready-made characters to run 6 different adventures, 6 different outlines, and a detailed timeline to build your own saga. It's amazing. Actually, a bit more than a one-shot, but Viking verse, 5 days ago, when the wolf comes. Yes, the Viking verse is based on Demon Lord, a complete tabletop role-playing game from Schwab. Viking verse collection, $14.95, gets you the whole collection. When the Wolf Comes is the core rulebook, based on the Shadow of the Demon Lord. When the Wolf Comes is a game of storytelling, heroism, and an epic struggle set in a parallel timeline when the Vikings never lost a battle. Yet Ragnarok, the doom of the gods, has brought the empire to its knees after discovering Yggdrasil, a vast intelligence that seen life throughout the cosmos. The kingdoms of men migrated to far-flung exoplanets connected by the great ash and her greenways, these so-called realms of the gods, new materials, and deadly perils. And you basically have new rules for fate, technology, honor and shame, shell shock and lineages, over 100 spells and gifts. And there are authentic Norse names, as well as you know, part, I mean, there's only so much authentic stuff you can put into a science fantasy, but this is no doubt a wonderful science fantasy I recommend checking out. The Viking verse has three supplements under the banner of death metal, although there's Space Vikings, Doomcraft, and death metal. These supplements. Space Vikings outlines the sacred space, a primordial darkness with only dying suns. Space Vikings takes you into this void where only master mariners and desperate outlaws steer their ships. Doomcraft, new crafts, new spells, and new artifacts for when the wolf comes characters. Now, death metal has rules for nuclear blast, hellscapes, bomb disposal, and canonical law. Viking words, paths of honor and shame. Paths of honor, so it says, you're the pinnacle of Norse might and mayhem, fast track to renown and acclaim, or more likely, an early grave. These include veterans who laugh in the face of certain death, athletes who risk life and limb in brutal gladiatorial sports, and traditionalists who hear in the old ways in defiance of modernity. Their deeds will be talked about long after they're gone, immortalized on runestones and in sagas. Whereas the path of shame, well, exactly the opposite. The life of notoriety and perhaps early grave as well, but you live without a care of what society thinks. The focus is on being a despised coward, a trickster, a brute, a ne'er-to-do-well, and malcontent. You're branded with the marks of the wolf. Live or die at the mercy of the norm. Viking Fort and Memory Saga. That's exactly what it is. This is a saga. And if anybody doesn't know, the long story, the sagas are actually the way originally stories were presented. Over time, you're presented with stories instead of a fixed format. It would go on and on and on. Some of the saga, the long story. See, normally in the old days, stories were just a chapter, a book. There were no books. There was either a chapter or a saga. It was, two extremes. The short story or the multi-volume story. Thoughts and memory sagas were lengthy, and this one is no different from any other Viking saga. This has many parts to it, but it has a beginning. Well, it has an introduction, and then this is included. This is the introductory module, or when included in the core rulebook, but it goes on with the 11 parts. No spoiler alerts. Enter the Viking verse if you dare. Next up is Brancaleonia. This is Italian spaghetti fantasy, 5th edition role playing. One whole single collection, $12.95, gets you the English translation of a famous Italian role-playing campaign from Archinon Games, based in Milan, Italy. It is a D&D 5th edition, but it is pretty much compatible with any role-playing game. But it's a topsy-turvy version of medieval Italy. They're the unheroic, though it's picturesque, and a rather roguish world that draws on the rich Italian culture, as well as the pop culture from Umberto Eco, from Corto Mays, Renaissance epics, as well as Italian Cavo, The Princess Bride, Pinocchio, and 100 more stories. His name should be up there in grand lights, not Walt Disney. Anyway, Barcelona is a low fantasy But still, it's a tale of legendary knights and skilled treasure hunters, as well as the usual bandits and such. Now, the setting book includes digital lasagna. Not making well, you have everything you need for maps, characters, antagonists, monsters, and other material to explore the realm. From the Power Mountains to the Copodonian Sea to the barbaric city of Tegiska to the coast of the Zigane Sea. You have playable races from Italian folklore. You have subclasses, backgrounds, rules for moves of wax, poor and stolen equipment, companies, cronies, den management, bounties, revels, prophecies, and dive games. You have feats, spells, treasures, diseases, and poisons, monsters and antagonists typical of Italian history and folklore. You have various secrets, threats, curiosities, places of interest, rumors, and game suggestions for generating dives, memorabilia, and roads to nowhere. And of course, you have your introductory solo adventure and a 6-episode campaign in Search of Fortune. The Macedonian is a huge helping of spaghetti fantasy, in which it's the first expansion. This was a successful Kickstarter campaign. You have the puppeteer class and various other subclasses, races, more subclasses, more jobs, more backgrounds, new spells, a regular load of equipment of every kind, creatures and adversaries, 4 cities in the kingdom, detailed maps included, many topics of exchange from the extravaganza to relics, from the nature of marionettes to monster cooking. Yay, the Empire waxed back. Which side will you take? Freetowns or Rome? Rome's up to the old tricks again. You have playable races, Jacobrids, Paraguls, and Grimboldi. New backgrounds, new dive games, new luxuries, equipment, spells, magical junk for all kinds of knaves. And the Antonomic Empires for all secrets and armies. The northern regions, the free cities with secrets, menaces, curiosities, places of interest, rumors, and adventure hooks. Of course, includes detailed maps. There's various monsters and antagonists. Again, falling within Italian history, tradition, and folklore. And a new campaign linked to military adventures. Jinx's Almanac. Hooks, characters, more material for adventure hooks, as well as special equipment, monsters, and more. A stretch goal from the October 21 Empire Waxback crowdfunding campaign. $12.95 gets you the entire collection. Oops. Next up. Wait. Oh, yeah. That's right. One expired. Had only a few hours to go. And yeah. Given we're coming to the end of the Cthulhu era, we actually did have Corsairs of Cthulhu. That's it. 3 days to go, nearly expired. Investigators for new investigations from New Comet for Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. $7.95 gets you hold a collection, and basically you have the Corsairs of Cthulhu. What happens when you fight the mythos in the golden age of piracy? This is a licensed Call of Cthulhu 7th edition campaign sourcebook set in the Caribbean in the years 1650 through to 1730. Actually, I'd argue this isn't the true golden age of piracy, but It is the richest era of piracy, I would say. The true golden era of piracy, in my opinion, is the beginning age, where there were far few warships, and the Spanish were rather naive in their bringing back treasures to Spain, and that nobody would dare attack them. But of course, during the golden age of piracy, there were lots of pirates and lots of robberies. And of course, as most of you know, very few pirates lived to retire. Most of them either killed by their comrades or sold out and hung on the yardarm. Most pirates rarely made it to trial, and those few who did, there was no defense. Anyway, Great Britain, France, and Spain were at each other's throats. They planted their flags, founded colonies on any piece of land they could grab. And of course, along the way, they crushed local cultures. That is true. But then again, remember, folks, the war started by invading Spain, invading Europe. They kicked off a series of wars. There was peace until the Spanish until the invasion. Actually, there probably would have been a great peace if it wasn't for the invasion of Spain. But history is history, and it makes for great settings in RPGs. Islands are renamed every few years, that is true. Empires, many empires rose and fell. Privateers sailed under patrons, flags, but this wasn't a guarantee of safety either. And plus, they often rose the black flag, of which there were many. In fact, there were female pirates. Now, 299 pages. This guide gives you historical period with new skills and occupations, alchemy, voodoo, sea combat, weapons and equipment, and bestiarily, maps and descriptions of the various ports, various mythos and non-mythos dangers. Non-mythos dangers include disease, dehydration, sea monsters, and other pirates. Plus, of course, there's the crown. Now, this includes a 12-part campaign with maps, Spanish galleon sails from the high seas from the Caribbean to South Pacific. You'll face and maybe fire cannons along the way. Meet ice walkers at Drake's Passage, rat things, and East Island, and of course deep ones in Polynesia, and of course the Great Cthulhu himself. Encounters with mythos heavy hitters like Neterurup, Dagon, and of course the King in Yellow, and send many sailors to the Davy Jones's locker. There are also conversion notes along the way for existing characters. Now, Time for Sacrifice is a campaign set in the 1920s with 5 linked adventures amongst the Mayan ruins, explore the ancient megaliths, and study the sacrifices and make them. It's Cthulhu, after all. What's Cthulhu without the horror of becoming the very thing you dread? Devil's Swamp. Now, the Devil's Swamp is another scenario. This time, it's Bridgewater Preservation Society near Hushmock Swamp in southern Massachusetts. Again, in the classic 1920s. It's a burial ground with more than 8,000 years of history. And of course, you have paranormal activity. You have thunderbirds, UFOs, ghosts, monster snakes, huge turtles, back dogs, Bigfoot, puckwudgies, and more. You explore and investigate reports that the police won't touch, and along the way meet various, what do you call them, oddities, I suppose. The Star on the Shore is a sequel, and it's been A statue has vanished from Austin's Chapel of Contemplation after its destruction, after the chapel's destruction. One of the true aims of the Shadow Organization is desperate to find this nameless relic, one of its dark secrets in Rockport on the New England coast. It's a sequel to The Haunting. Raise your reflecting play, yes. Now, to change tabs without closing something. All right. To round off horror month, week, we have Re-Animator for Call of Cthulhu from Quisio Veneris Picatero. It's produced many fine Call of Cthulhu adventures. This time we have the lifeless body of an Elga thing that has been clandestinely transported from Earth to a secluded area near the star Altair by covert organizations which aim to conduct an experiment to bring him back to life. This has been chosen to be far from prying eyes in densely populated areas to minimize potential harm in case the experiment goes awry. Hence, to avoid attracting attention due to the near impossibility of constructing a space station or planetary outpost that could go undetected by the universe scanning sensors of the Confederation, decision was made to acquire a section of the distant space station intended to house a deep, powerful space telescope. It's there in secrecy the experiment would be conducted. You take on the role of the musicians of the Morbid Rainbow, a sociopath metal band. Socio-death metal band during interplanetary tour. Arrive at the station just as the dark and occult experiment begins. It's an independent scenario along with others. Has new occupations, characters, maps, characters, and hand-drawn illustrations. Oh, and there it is. I thought I closed it. All right. Dungeons and Daikaiju for Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Daikaiju is where titans walk and heroes rise. Prefer for earth-shattering adventures that will change your D&D experience. Unleash the awe-inspiring might of the kaiju in the rich tapestry of fantasy role-playing. For players, you have new races, and of course, you have the kaiju slayer, leyline cartographers, and you understand how to combat and basically understand these titanic beasts, unleashing devastating new feats, wield kaiju-inspired magic items. For dungeon masters, there's the kaiju encounters and epic battles. Reshape the world with ley lines, magical anomalies, and kaiju warped environments. For kaiju fans, experience beloved kaiju themes from the lens of rich fantasy. You have new races, new classes, dozens of new monsters and NPCs, a complete three-part campaign, perfect blend of D&D and kaiju from Relentless Fiction. Next up, we have Badly Drawn Dungeons. You may remember we covered Unsinkable, a D&D adventure. Well, it's successful, come to a close, yet they have a stretch. Don't know how long it will last, but it's been successfully funded. Late pledges are still being accepted for available awards. All the early bird awards goes on, but some of the optional digital packs are still available. And of course, I have my own RPG inspired off my own writing, future fantasy, a homebrew science fiction fantasy setting for D6 tabletop games. Choose your level of membership. For $1, you get access to the role-playing game material and a gridless battle map. Free members get access to a map. Our squires, as well as the double thank you, there's preview the artworks for upcoming projects and for battle maps per month. Knights, you get those same maps but with grids. And you can individually unlock battle map packs if you don't wish to pledge on a regular basis. Thank you all for your time. I appreciate each and every one of you. And please like, share, and subscribe if you've done so already. And to support the channel, check out the links in the description below. You can support me on Ko-Fi at Future Fantasy. QR code on the screen. At Patreon at David T. Applegate, one word, and Future Fantasy at the RP. Shout out to the Men's Room and Anime Night, two channels I regularly appear on. And of course, all my links are in the link tree. Buy my books, buy my merch. Links are in the description below or in my profile, or of course, QR code on the screen. Please and thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And bye for now.